Bienvenue, and I'm almost laughing when I say it because I can hear them. I heard them before I saw them, the gate at the front of the estate, which has a specific sound when children come through it at pace, which is different from the sound it makes at any other time, a kind of controlled crash, the latch not quite caught, a voice on the path, another voice overtaking the first, the sound of feet that have been contained all day and have now been released into the world and are expressing that release through the simple fact of being very loud on a garden path. They're home. This is the day, not a date. You'll notice I'm not giving you a date because this day is not about the calendar. It's about a feeling, which is the last day of the last school week of the year, when something that has been structured and scheduled and organized for 9 months finally stops being any of those things. Gwen came through the gate first, then Harvey, then Tristan, and behind them Samuel with Rose on his hip, still in his jacket, which means he came straight from wherever he was, probably work. And he set her down at the gate, and she just went immediately towards the garden as if she had already decided where she was going. They all found out across the garden path in the way children do when they've been in a line all day and no longer have to be. Like water finding its own level, like something released. Come in, the kitchen garden gate is open. Today is the day to let something go. One thing. It doesn't have to be large. It doesn't have to be permanent. It just has to be real. One obligation you'd held yourself to, one plan you'd made that wasn't strictly necessary, one item on the list that was always on the list and can today be moved to another day or quietly forgotten altogether. The hearth on this afternoon is permission. For the children, it arrives automatically. Someone rang a bell, or the teacher said something, or they simply walked out of the door and the summer landed on them like light landing on something that's been in the dark. They did not have to choose it. It came for them. For the rest of us, it doesn't arrive automatically. We have to choose it. We have to notice that the children have been released and decide, I can be a little released today too. The list is not going anywhere. The obligation is not threatened by one afternoon of not attending to it. Summer begins in the moment you actually let it. That's the whole thing. That's the entire hearth. Let it. Okay, this is the children's afternoon, and so the library belongs to them too. Robert Louis Stevenson, A Child's Garden of Verses, published in 1885, written from the memory of a childhood spent largely indoors, a child who was often ill, looking out at a garden he could hear but not always reach, which is, I think, why these poems know so precisely what it means to finally get outside. This one is called The Swing. How do you like to go up in a swing, up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all, over the countryside. Till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown, up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. There. That's the whole feeling in 10 lines. Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide. That is exactly what today is. The walls of school term routine and the view beyond them, and the sheer uncomplicated physical pleasure of going up in the air and down again. Stevenson wrote it for children, but I read it every year at this time for myself. The ballroom is outside today. I've walked to the far end of the kitchen garden where there's a section of warm stone wall, the south-facing wall, the one that holds the heat the best, the one the apricot tree has been trained against for years, and I found a patch of it wide enough to sit comfortably. The stone is warm even through the fabric of what I'm wearing. The kitchen garden is alive with the sound of children somewhere nearby. I can hear them, though from here I can't quite see them. Gwen calling to someone, Harvey's voice, precise and intent, investigating something. Tristan running the paths, I suspect, purely because they are there and straight and he's been sitting in a chair all day. That's where we're having the ballroom today. No journal, no list. Sit with your back against something warm if you can, or simply be somewhere outside or somewhere with an open window. Let the music play. When the music ended, what I heard was Tristan, somewhere to my left, making car sounds while he ran. And then briefly, perfectly, Rose's laugh, which is a very particular laugh, higher than you'd expect and slightly indignant, as if things being funny is almost an insult to her dignity. And then just the garden, birds, something growing quietly, the warm wall behind me, doing nothing but holding the heat. From the wall, I can see most of the kitchen garden, and I'm not moving. This is important. I'm not going in to help or direct or suggest or supervise. I'm sitting on the wall and watching, which is what this afternoon calls for. Oh, Gwen. She found the strawberries within 4 minutes of arriving, which is approximately 3 minutes, 50 seconds faster than I would have found them. She's moving along the row now with a focus that I recognize. This is her in her workshop face, her making face, the face she gets when she's identified what needs to be done and is doing it without requiring any conversation about it. She's picking strawberries directly into a bowl she somehow already has. I didn't see her get the bowl. I don't know where the bowl came from. Gwen always knows where things are. Harvey, he went directly to the corner where he put something in the ground in April. He crouches down and examines it with the seriousness of a small scientist confirming a hypothesis. He's poking the soil very carefully with one finger and nodding. He seems satisfied. I have no idea what's growing there. He told me at the time and I didn't retain the information, which I now regret. Something that matters to him. Something that has apparently done what it was supposed to do. He's nodding again and moving on to the next thing. Oh, Tristan. Yep, he's running the kitchen garden paths as if they are circuits. The paths form a rough grid between the beds, and he's treating them as a racetrack with complete sincerity, making a low, continuous car engine sound under his breath and taking the corners with great commitment. He's been in school for 9 months. He's been sitting down for 9 months. His body has a great deal of opinions about that, and the kitchen garden paths are absorbing all of them. And there's Rose. She walked into the kitchen garden with a deliberate air of someone who's been told the garden is hers and is taking possession of it properly. She identified within perhaps 2 minutes a patch of bare earth near the raised beds, and now she's sitting directly in it, in her good dress. She smoothed the dress around her before she sat. She is not gardening. She's not exploring. She is simply sitting in the earth in her best dress, and she appears to be deeply at peace with this decision. The dress will probably need attention later. I'm not going to mention this today. Oh, Sophie, 3 months old. She's in Gwen's arms now. Gwen having transferred the strawberry bowl to her other hand in order to carry her sister along the row. She's watching the kitchen garden with the expression she gets when the visual world presents itself, complete open-faced attention, as if she's trying to take all of it in before something changes. The light, the green, the movement of Gwen's arm, the sound of Tristan's circuit. She's watching all of it. 5 minutes standing here. I could watch for an hour. I won't, but I could. Let me tell you about this garden, because it's not the Saturday garden, and the difference matters. The Saturday garden is adventure. It's where we go out, where the gates open wide, where the world past the estate becomes the destination. The Saturday garden is departure. The kitchen garden is arrival. It's walled, 4 walls of old stone, the kind that has been here long enough to have become part of the landscape, covered on the south face with the trained apricot tree and on the east face with a climbing rose that has opinions about which direction it wants to grow and has been winning that argument for years. The north wall has a gate, arched, wooden, the latch worn smooth, and the west wall has the tool alcove where things hang in the order that makes sense to whoever put them there, which is a different logic from mine, but a logic nonetheless. Inside the walls, beds, a working garden, not a decorative one. Stakes and strings for the climbing things, rows of herbs, the lavender at the border, the rosemary making a small private forest of itself in the far corner, the mint contained in its pot because mint cannot be trusted, the chives already flowering at the tops with small purple spheres, strawberries in their long row, the runners extending sideways in the ambitious way strawberries extend, colonizing politely, and the smell. In late June, in the afternoon, with the walls holding the warmth and the herbs in the sun, it is unlike any other smell in the estate. Green and warm together. Something sweet underneath from the strawberries, something sharp from the rosemary, the particular dusty earth smell of a garden that has been tended and is now doing the work it was given to do. The walls concentrate it, hold it in the garden, trap the warmth along with the scent so that walking through the gate is like walking into something, into the particular atmosphere of a productive, cared for, deeply useful garden on the best afternoon of the year. Today, the children are in charge of it. This is not a thing I planned. It's simply what happened when I opened the gate and they all went through it. The kitchen garden received them without ceremony, and they received the kitchen garden in kind, each of them finding within minutes the exact place that belonged to them. Gwen's strawberries, Harvey's corner, Tristan's circuit, Rose's patch of earth, Sophie's arm to be carried in, her first visit to the kitchen garden, her first afternoon outside school ever, in a sense, though she doesn't know that. I'm not gardening today. I said this already, but it's worth repeating. I am not in this garden to tend it. I am in this garden to watch the children be in it. That is the distinction. It matters more than I can properly explain, except to say that there are days when the thing required of you is not doing, but witnessing, being present to something that does not need your participation, letting the children be in the garden and letting the garden receive them, and not putting yourself between those two things. The strawberries will get picked. Harvey's corner is fine, better than fine. The paths won't mind Tristan's circuits. Rose's dress is her own decision, made in full knowledge of the dirt. Sophie is held securely. The kitchen garden is entirely capable of handling this. I am sitting on the warm wall with my back to the stone and a cup of cold lemon water that has mostly been forgotten. And the kitchen garden is doing what a kitchen garden does on the last afternoon of the school year, which is, it is being a place where growing things happen, where small people can be exactly where they are, where the smell of herbs and warm earth and strawberries is available to anyone who comes through the gate. The children came through the gate. The summer is here. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a letter in my pocket. It was written slowly. I could feel the care in it. My children are grown. They've been gone for years, and I love their lives and I love who they've become. But end of school used to change everything. The feeling of the summer beginning, the noise of them coming home, the particular chaos. Now summer arrives quietly. It just comes. It doesn't announce itself. I still notice the date, but the feeling is gone. I don't know how to find the summer again without a school bell to start it. This letter has been sitting with me. I want to say first, I hear the ache in this. Not grief exactly. You said so yourself. You love their lives, you love who they've become, but the particular ache of a season that used to arrive with such force and now arrives without announcement. That's real. That's worth naming. Here's what I think. The school bell was a door. It opened and summer walked through it loudly with all of its noise and chaos and need. You didn't have to look for summer when they were small. Summer found you. Now you have to find summer. This is genuinely different. I won't pretend it isn't, but I want to suggest that the equivalent door exists. It's just a door you have to choose to open, rather than one that opens on your behalf. What were you waiting for at the end of those summer beginning days when the children were home? What was underneath the noise, underneath the chaos, underneath the particular exhaustion of 3 children released into a house at the same time? I think you were waiting for permission to let the structure ease, to let the days run a little longer and a little looser, to do the summer equivalent of sitting on a warm wall watching strawberries get picked. You still have that permission. You've always had it. The children are not the permission. They are just very loud proof that you had it. Open a door today. Go somewhere green, even briefly. Eat something cold and good. Let one afternoon be a summer afternoon, specifically, deliberately, because you chose it. That's the bell. That's how you start it now. The children are still in the garden. I can hear them. Gwen's voice and Harvey's, and Tristan running a circuit for what is probably the 17th time, and somewhere Rose is either talking to herself or to Sophie, or to the dirt, and all of it is alive and present and completely unconcerned with being anywhere else. I'm not going to call them in yet. There's no reason to. The evening is long, the kitchen garden is holding the light beautifully, the warmth in the stone walls, the strawberries still being assessed, Harvey's important corner, Tristan's ongoing circuit, Rose making her peace with the garden floor, Sophie watching all of it with her whole face. Summer has begun, not on a calendar, in a kitchen garden, on a late June afternoon, when 4 children came through a gate at considerable speed and fanned out across the paths and found exactly what they needed. I'm going to sit here a little longer. Take good care of yourself.